Hi, this is Arthur, and this is a summary and explanation of all Archon quests released in the game Genshin Impact version 5.1. Sometime after the 5.0 Archon quests, the Traveler meets with Catherine at the Adventurers Guild. Catherine says Mavuika, the Pyro Archon, finished assembling and stationing her forces across Natlan. Abyss activity has also ramped up across Natlan. They bump into Kachina, who says Shilonen is ready to forge the Traveler an ancient name. They meet with Shilonen, who says forging an ancient name for Outlanders like the Traveler is impossible. In order to forge an ancient name, a person needs to record their heroic deeds in the Night Kingdom. Only heroic deeds performed in Natlan are acknowledged by the Wayab and recorded. Unfortunately, all of the Traveler's heroic deeds are from outside Natlan. Shilonen thinks about solutions and says she'll consult with Sitlali, an expert on all things Night Kingdom and Wayab. Sitlali was the owner of the Spirit Speaker's Stone the Traveler destroyed in the previous Archon quest. Shilonen writes a letter to Sitlali on the Traveler's behalf and says they should get Kinich to deliver it. They meet with Kinich, who says he'll deliver it and convince Sitlali to help them. Kinich also says they learned the person who saved the captain earlier was named Ororon from the Masters of the Nightwind tribe. Ororon and Sitlali are close, so meeting with Sitlali will help with investigating Ororon and finding the captain. A few days later, they head to the Stadium of the Sacred Flame and meet Sitlali. They form an agreement where in exchange for finding Ororon, Sitlali will speak to the Lord of the Night. The Lord of the Night is an ancient entity that rules the entire Night Kingdom and constantly borrows the power of the Sacred Flame to fight the Abyss's corrosion. The Lord of the Night is currently in deep slumber and can only be spoken to through a dream invoked by ceremony. Shilonen says she'll get the items needed for the ceremony while the Traveler and Sitlali find Ororon. Sitlali and the Traveler start tracking Ororon, but as they close in, the Traveler's soul is transported by Ororon into the Night Kingdom. Ororon is there and so is the captain. The captain requests to meet the Traveler in Natlan to discuss his intentions. The Traveler then returns to her body in Natlan and keeps what happened a secret. They later find Ororon with some Fatui. They beat up the Fatui and speak to Ororon. Ororon says the Fatui forced him to save the captain and keeps their chat with the Traveler in the Night Kingdom a secret. They return to the stadium to petition Mavuika for forgiveness on behalf of Ororon for helping the captain. Sometime later, the Traveler meets with Ororon and the captain. The captain wants to work with the Traveler to save Natlan. The captain says Mavuika's plan to wait for the heroes of old to reappear is too risky and that Mavuika has a secret backup plan. The captain prefers the secret backup plan and attacked Mavuika because her gnosis was necessary for this plan. Unfortunately for him, the captain was defeated, so he gave up on the plan and is trying another plan. Suddenly, Sitlali arrives and the captain runs off. Sitlali scolds Ororon for his lies and they head back to the stadium. Along the way, Ororon runs off. The Traveler and Sitlali return to the stadium where the Traveler tells her the truth about Ororon and the captain. Sitlali tells them Ororon was abandoned by his parents as a child because his soul is incomplete, which in their tribe is a bad omen. Ororon was later found by the Masters of the Nightwind tribe who thought they could use him as a vessel for lost souls. Through a ceremony, they would gather lost souls within him. Ororon would then be sent to the Night Kingdom to return the souls to their rightful place and strengthen Natlan's ley lines. This ceremony would also kill Ororon. The Masters of the Nightwind tribe attempted the ceremony, but it failed and Ororon survived. Sitlali feels guilty for allowing the ceremony to occur, and Ororon feels guilty for surviving it without helping Natlan. It seems Ororon is helping the captain as he sees it as another opportunity to help Natlan. The Traveler eventually says goodnight and heads to bed. The next day, the Traveler meets with Sitlali, who says the Abyss is attacking Natlan and leaves to defend her tribe. The Traveler heads over to Mavuika and tells her about the captain and Ororon. Mavuika tells them that, like the captain said, Mavuika can use the gnosis to save Natlan. This method would use all the souls and memories in the Night Kingdom to weave a giant net to protect the ley lines from abyssal corrosion. Mavuika does not like this method because it would erase the history and culture of Natlan and is only a temporary solution as the net won't last forever. Mavuika says they need to find and stop the captain. Mavuika has sent people to gather information on the Fatui and they should be back soon. In the meantime, Mavuika and her forces will defend against the Abyss and evacuate endangered settlements. They head out and the Traveler helps the Children of Echo's tribe evacuate. Mavuika and her forces win their battles for now and the Traveler returns to Mavuika. Chaska and her sister Quichu are already there and report the Fatui are looking for a dragon relic called the Source Mechanism. Mavuika says she'll look into it and they say goodbye. Later, they bump into Sitlali, who says Ororon came back to defend against the Abyss attacks, but left soon after. Sitlali says she somehow copied a portion of Ororon's memories during his return and they can now go through them. They go through Ororon's memories and see that he and the captain's plan is to somehow reconstruct Natlan's ley lines. They report what they've learned to Mavuika, who says she's found the captain. Mavuika says that like using the Gnosis, reconstructing the ley lines would destroy everything currently within them. Mavuika reiterates they must stop the captain and Ororon. As most of Natlan's forces are fighting the Abyss, only Mavuika, Kinich, Shilonen, and the Traveler will go to stop them. They head over to the captain's location but are too late to stop Ororon from activating the source mechanism. Ororon then gets possessed by a soul the captain seems to recognize. Using the distraction from the possession, the Traveler shuts off the source mechanism. Within Ororon, Ororon speaks with the soul possessing him and learns he's named Guthred. Ororon fights off Guthred's possession and wakes up. Suddenly, an ancient name appears before Ororon along with a shadowy figure named Sanhaj. It seems Ororon is the final hero needed for Mavuika's plan. Just then, the Lord of the Night awakens and speaks to them. It seems when Ororon activated the soul mechanism, it woke up the Lord of the Night, who cried out and accidentally caused Ororon's possession. The Lord of the Night doesn't know where Guthred came from, but says it wasn't from Natlan or the Night Kingdom. Mavuika then drops some lore. The ancient battle between the Descender and the dragons destroyed the corner of the world, allowing the Abyss to invade. Natlan's ley line suffered the worst damage. To help Natlan's people, the Lord of the Night used fragments of the old ley lines to reconstruct a similar network which they now call the Night Kingdom. The first Pyro Archon, Xbalanque, strengthened the Night Kingdom and established the rules that helped Natlan fight the Abyss. The Lord of the Night adds that back then the dragons tried to use the source mechanism to strengthen the ley lines, but they lacked the skills to navigate the ley lines. Now that the structures of the ley lines have changed, the Lord of the Night became the only vehicle for the power generated by the source mechanism, which is what woke it up. The Lord of the Night explains that while the people of Natlan call it Lord, beings like the Lord of the Night used to be known as angels. The devolved form of an angel is a Seelie, meaning Seelies are angels. The Lord of the Night then says that according to her mandate, she will reconstruct the ley lines with Mavuika's consent. Mavuika does not give consent, as this will end the Lord of the Night's existence, erase the memories and legends of Natlan, and cause neurological problems to the people of Natlan. The captain is frustrated by Mavuika's decision and explains he is a survivor of Khaenri'ah. The captain saw the Abyss destroy Khaenri'ah and doesn't want to see that happen to Natlan. The Lord of the Night says it will go along with Mavuika's decision but will remain awake for a while. So long as it is awake, the offer to reconstruct the ley line stands. The captain then offers to help Mavuika and even offers all of his troops. Mavuika accepts his offer and they head back to the stadium. Before leaving, the Lord of the Night provides the traveler some answers. The Lord of the Night says the power of the heavens do not like being mentioned and remain in the shadows as shades. One of these shades is called the Ruler of Death and helped Natlan establish its rules and the creation of the Night Kingdom. Side note, it is later revealed the Ruler of Death's name is Renova. Renova's actions were seen as overstepping her authority and displeased the heavenly principles. Renova subsequently succumbed to self-pity and now few know of Renova's existence. The Lord of the Night also mentions the heavenly principles used phlogiston energy as a basis for the creation of elemental energy. Elemental energy was developed to better fight the Abyss. Later they all meet at the stadium. The captain explains that 500 years ago when Khaenri'ah fell to the Abyss, the captain and his platoon fled to Natlan. There, he fought to protect Natlan and made it his mission to continue doing so. He also met Aizu, the chief of the Masters of the Nightwind tribe at the time. Aizu was the one who revealed to him the secrets of the Gnosis. Mavuika asks why she doesn't recognize him, and the captain says that despite being immortal, his flesh still rots. The captain doesn't know how Dainsleif slowed his deterioration. The captain adds the Tsaritsa of Snezhnaya, also known as the Cryo Archon, allows Harbingers a lot of latitude, so he can do what he wants in Natlan. Mavuika now explains that with all 6 heroes present, they can now unleash a great power against the Abyss. This power was given by Renova to Xbalanque and can only be used once. Renova is like an emissary of the heavenly principles whose existence predates the Archons. Mavuika goes on and says when a human ascends to the Divine Throne, their inner flame is awakened, they gain great power. Side note, the Divine Throne played a big role in Fontaine's Archon quest and when destroyed returned to Neuvillette his sovereign dragon powers. Renova's power works similarly to a Divine Throne but grants a power even greater than an Archon's. After chatting they decide to call it a night. Later that night, Silali and Shilonen meet with the Lord of the Night and ask about making an ancient name for the traveler. It is revealed that forging an ancient name consumes the life of the craftsman. In other words, forging the traveler an ancient name will kill Shilonen. Even still, Shilonen wants to forge it. Silali then reveals her tribe can see glimpses of the future and has seen Mavuika's death. The Lord of the Night explains the price of using Renova's power is death and Mavuika will likely die during this war. Silali wants to save Mavuika and the Lord of the Night hints that while death is inevitable, the time and manner of death do not matter to Renova. As the Traveler is a descender, she may be able to help Mavuika. The Lord of the Night then gives them an extension of her will, which can record the Traveler's deeds in Natlan and be used to forge her ancient name. Sometime later, they give the Traveler the extension of the Lord of the Night's will. Just then, news arrives that the Abyss is attacking and they all head off to war. The Traveler runs around Natlan, joining in the fight against the Abyss's forces. Later, the Abyss itself appears above the stadium and Mavuika uses her Gnosis to contain it. The fighting continues and one of the casualties is Quichu, Chaska's sister. Mavuika then calls the 6 heroes back to the stadium and unleashes the power of the Divine Throne, powering up Mavuika and the Ode of Resurrection. With this powered up Ode of Resurrection, all warriors gain the ability to resurrect and they push back the Abyss's forces. Mavuika then launches a massive blast that blows up the Abyss and even blasts a hole in the sky. Side note, in Sumeru's Archon quest, the Fatui Harbinger known as the Doctor mentioned something about the skies of Teyvat being fake. Additional note, Mavuika's blast is likely the power granted by Renova. And with that blast, Natlan has won. Later, at the victory feast, Mavuika says the Abyss retreated into the Night Kingdom and she will go there to defeat them once and for all. Mavuika says she will go alone as the abyssal energy is too strong for everyone else. Mavuika later speaks privately with the Traveler, and Mavuika asks her to join the final assault against the Abyss as the Traveler is immune to abyssal energy. Later, the Traveler speaks with Silali, who tells her about Mavuika's impending death and they agree to try and find a way to help her. We move to Mavuika going through memories of her life and even see Xbalanque negotiating with Renova on the rules for Natlan. Sometime later, the Traveler agrees to go with Mavuika to fight the Abyss, but Paimon will not go as it is too dangerous. In regards to the hole in the sky, Mavuika explains this is the first proof of the false sky's existence and thinks the Heavenly Principles wants it kept a secret. We move to the Captain talking to the Lord of the Night. The Captain recognizes Mavuika's blast against the Abyss as something from Renova. This is because Renova was the one who sent the Captain on his journey. The Captain then asks the Lord of the Night for its help. And that is the end of this quest in this video. If you like what you've seen here, please like, comment, and subscribe.